Hello, friends, and welcome back to 20 Questions With. For those of you who are new here, this is my fun way of introducing you to other costumers by asking them 20 silly questions. Today, we are talking to Brielle of Brielle Costumes. Welcome to my channel, Brielle.
Hi, thank you for featuring me.
You're welcome. I'm glad to have you here with me. That's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your shop?
Well, my name is Brielle, and I have a custom costume shop where I make custom costumes. My specialty, I would say, is probably pirates, cloaks, and then fantasy inspired. But I do a little sci-fi if they're old school Jedis or Siths, because that doesn't involve real leather and things like that. So I would say that was my specialty realm, is mostly in that type of range. And then I also have a custom shop, or a section of my website, I should say, where I sell stuff that is ready-made, like capes, cloaks, and then pirate things. And then I use recycled and reclaimed textiles for those, so the budget is a lot lower for people. As a custom, like deluxe costume like that is very high-end in price, but I still want to allow people to get like something fun for their cosplay that's under $100.
Yeah, I find your stuff very affordable.
Well, thank you.
So Brielle has been on my channel before. There is an Oregon vlog or Washington vlog, some vlog during like
Yes.
the week. Brielle was one of the last people I saw before we went into lockdown, because I went and visited her and then went to Seattle and then had to run
That's when
home.
the full lockdown started, when you were
Yeah,
there.
I got called home from that trip. Like my husband said, you need to come home early, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is a thing.
Crazy.
Yeah, and I drove like the wind. You would not believe. Like I drove.
I don't blame you. It's like, I just want to get home, get out of this.
I would have gotten home in one day easily, but I stopped to have lunch with Peggy of Noodle Stitch. And so I ended up sleeping overnight in a hotel. Otherwise, I would have actually run home from Seattle in one day, which is kind of a crazy drive.
That is quite the drive, but that's impressive though.
Yeah, I was like, gotta get home, can't get sick.
Well, because that was when everything was just starting, so there wasn't the masks or anything like that yet.
And nobody knew like how, when, why, whatever. So yeah.
It was nice to meet you in person though. That was fun.
Yeah, for sure. I also featured her as one of the people who does custom orders in my buying guide. So she's in there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Are you ready to play 20 questions?
Yes.
All right. If you were a color of the spectrum, what color would you be and why?
Probably green of some sort. I think green's usually, I love red. That's one of my favorite colors, but I'm also drawn to like the green nature forest vibe. So I would definitely say green.
So I have a weird thing about me where if I close my eyes and I think about a person, I see them as a color.
Like the aura reading?
I don't think it's an aura. It's just like, well, I don't know.
It might be. You might have some magical powers in there.
Yeah. Maybe I am like an atheist aura reader. I don't know, but I don't think so. I think it's like a form of slight synesthesia.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and when I close my eyes, you are green.
Yay.
You're like a deep forest green.
Oh, well, that's my favorite color, other than like the Arwen green color that I've got going on.
Yeah. When I think of you.
Oh, well, that's fun. Thank you.
Sometimes it takes me a really long time to decide what color, like I don't decide, it just sort of like comes to me. Like some people just aren't, and then one day they are. Yours came really fast.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I'm very honored it was the right color then.
Yeah. My husband is tan, and that's weird.
Oh.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of tan before in that type of thing.
Well, yeah, that's why I don't think it's that type of thing. I think it's just my brain assigning.
It's your own like world, and that's cool.
Yeah. Sometimes for some people, I also see animals.
Oh, that would be really fun.
Yeah. So like my husband is a silverback gorilla. If you saw my husband, you'd go, yeah, okay.
It works.
Yeah. So it's a weird thing, but yeah, I'm glad it jives. I'm always really happy when I like say, oh, this is the color I see, and the other person is happy with it, and B, they tell me it's their favorite color, because I'm like, oh, maybe I'm favorite color psychic.
It's meant to be then. So then if you start doing it with animals, then maybe it would coincide as well.
Yeah. I'll let you know if you ever pop up with an animal.
Yes, please do.
What is something we would not expect about you?
Oh, I thought you might ask this question, and it's actually a hard one to answer.
It
But
is.
I thought of something randomly, and I really want to cosplay Bellatrix from Harry Potter. And everyone's always like, "Oh, you can't do that. You're like so calm." And it's like, but that's why it would be fun because I want the crazy hair and like the crazy outfit, and then wear it to. I think they let you wear them at like Universal Studios, right? Or is
I
that?
think so. Yeah.
I just think that would be really fun, and just go all out and be like just kind of evil for a day, but not really. So
That's
I think
funny.
that would,
Yeah.
yeah, it's random, but I just think it would be fun.
Yeah. If the animal kingdom were to elect a new monarch, which animal would you vote for and why?
I think the current one would be a lion that's in charge, right? I
Yep.
think. I'm very much into red pandas right now because I think they're adorable. And the Oregon Zoo had a baby red panda this year, actually, on their YouTube channel. It's one of my favorite things to follow. He's so cute. So I would have to say, probably, as much as I like a red panda, an owl might be the wiser choice, though. So I feel like
Probably.
they would be more thoughtful, and a red panda would just be a little bit more chaotic, maybe, but very cute. So I would say an owl, I think.
Okay. You know that's a raptor, right?
What, the owl?
Uh-huh.
Yes, but I still think he would be like wise to have in charge because the lion is
Yeah,
still.
okay.
I don't know. Yeah, that's my only answer at the moment.
All right. I guess he'd have like good, or she. Maybe it's a
Well,
she.
see, that's I was kind of picturing like a female snow owl. That was
Oh,
my thought. Yeah.
okay. They have good vision, right? Because they can see all the way around
Yes.
them. So
Yeah.
maybe
Almost
that
all
would
the
be a
way
good
around. Yeah.
leader. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you ran away and joined the circus, what would your performance be?
Probably something involving animals, like maybe the animal training or the tigers that like jump through like the flaming fire hoop thing. That
Hmm.
would probably be because I feel like performing on my own would make me too anxious, but having an animal would make it more fun. So that would probably be mine.
Okay. So Brielle just answered. I don't want to do this by myself, but if you put me in a room with a tiger, I'm all good.
Yeah, that would make me more comfortable.
Okay. What fictional character do you identify the most with and why them?
Oh, I have so many favorite fictional characters, but I don't know if I particularly identify with any of them. I have a lot of favorites, but probably Belle from Beauty and the Beast because she's a
Oh.
little bit odd. It's kind of a bookworm and doesn't necessarily fit in, but kind of does, like on the outskirts, does her own little thing.
Is she
So
odd?
probably, I don't know. I also love Rapunzel from Disney, and
Yeah.
that's my favorite princess. So I don't know.
I don't think Belle's actually odd. That's the thing, is like she's billed as like the weird one, but like nothing she
Yeah,
does
she's
in the
not.
entire
Yeah.
movie is weird. You're like, not really. She'd be,
Everyone else singing is probably weirder than her
yeah,
just walking around doing her little thing. But
yeah,
yeah, so I would probably say Belle, even
cool.
though like I really like Lord of the Rings and Arwen and things like that too. It's a hard choice because I don't know who I would identify with the most. I
Hmm.
like Luthien a lot from Tolkien's work as well because she's kind of more. She's like Arwen, but is a little bit more adventurous and does stuff, and I think that would be
Hmm.
fun.
Yeah. When someone finds out what you do, what question do they always ask you?
Oh, this is always like the dreaded question when someone's like, "Oh, what do you do for work?" And I'm just like, "No, don't ask me, please don't." Because then usually they're like, "Oh, you make costumes. Do you make money at that?" And then it's like, "Well, I don't really want to talk about money. I just met you." Or the other thing people always ask me is, "What's the weirdest costume you've ever made?" And it's like, "Well, I don't really make weird stuff." So then that disappoints them. So I try to just kind of.
Or you only make weird stuff depending on who you're talking to,
Well,
right? Like
exactly.
if
So a
they're
lot of
asking you
people
that
assume
question,
costumes. They think like mascot, sort of
yeah.
animals. And it's like, no, I make pirate stuff. And then people kind of blank over like, who would order a pirate coat? And it's like, well, actually, a lot of people would. But then you have to go down the rabbit trail of explaining like Comic Cons and reenactments and
Yeah,
historical tours. So that's kind of it just like opens up a whole nother discussion that depending on the person, I'll just
right.
usually say I'm a seamstress, and that kind of like shuts it down
They're
if I
like,
don't
I
want to
don't
have
know
a
what
full
that means.
yes, because if you're not in that realm, it's really weird when you're trying to explain.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I would explain to them pirate festivals.
I actually, that is a good one depending on the person, because then they're like, oh, it's like Civil War reenactment. I'm like, no, it's pirate festivals where everybody's just like hanging out, eating random food and kind
Yeah,
of doing their own thing. And no one's historically accurate at all and they don't care.
yeah, yeah. The weirdest thing anyone's asked me about specifically costuming, well, my husband, before we were married, my husband is a giant creeper, just so everyone is clear. Like, it's okay. I love him so much. He's my husband, but he's a giant creeper. He asked me if I could make him a furry suit.
Oh no.
He didn't actually want a furry suit. He just wanted to know if I could make him a furry suit. And
I've had that question a lot.
I'm like, dude, yes, but I'm not going to because you are creepy. So no.
Maybe he just wanted to gauge your response on that.
Yeah. Like, he likes to stir the pot a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Like, he is famous for saying like he will just meet you and then brush up against you and be like, ooh, your flesh is cool to the touch. And you're like, dude, you are the creepiest individual I've ever met. Are you a serial killer? Like, what is going? He just does it to like rile
just
people
to mess with people.
Yeah. So usually what happens is I hear him say that to someone, and then I come screaming in, like just yelling at him, because that makes the person feel better that this person is now being managed. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny though. I feel like that would like create friendships fairly quickly.
Oh, yeah.
People like figured out the humor. Yeah.
Yeah. And they would get the dynamic between me and my husband pretty well.
Yes.
What skill or talent would you most like to learn?
I feel like furthering sewing skills is a good answer, but that's also a little bit boring. I'd really like to figure out full pattern drafting. Like I often do the draping technique and then just kind of like eyeball it and cut stuff. And I can draft things, but not like full corsets and things yet for other people. It's easier when I know my own measurements. But I think actually like being able to take the flat measurements and do like a historical frock coat or something and then turn it into something else without my little draping on the dress form hack, because I feel like that's more comfortable to me.
Yeah.
But the flat like pattern drafting, I'm trying to work on it. So
yeah, I would love to learn how to do that too. That would be a great thing to learn.
I think it would be fun. I have a friend who has her own pattern company. She does kind of vintage inspired stuff, and she's really good at doing that. And I just admire when she can just like turn that dress into something else.
Yeah. What was something that you thought would be easy until you tried it?
I feel like there's probably multiple answers, but the first thing that came to mind was quilting. Honestly, I get so stressed out quilting stuff because you have to cut everything and then put it back in and then measure it, and then it's still just flat when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really admire people that can make beautiful quilts, because it makes me angry, and most quilters are like, oh, it's relaxing. I'm like, no, I'm so angry at those little squares. So I would say I really like admire people that can do that, because it looks easy and it's very tedious.
Yeah. I say that about quilters a lot. Like I'm like, that is not a sport that I have the patience for. And all the quilters come into my comment section and they're like, no, it's just like sewing. And I'm just like, no, it's not. It is way less forgiving.
Yeah.
Like you can see any little problem. With sewing, you have like a shoulder, and therefore there's an excuse for why it's slightly off. So yeah,
and I think it might be because sewing is like a 3D sort of garment, but then quilting, if that one little block is off, the whole thing's like leaning over, and it's just I can't do it. My mom makes beautiful quilts, but I can't do it.
My theory is like you age into quilts. Like I know young quilters. It's not like I'm saying it's an old person thing. I'm just saying like you gain the wisdom and patience that you would need, and possibly you get bored of making everything else by the time you get there when you grow older in life. So that makes me excited, because it means that like I'm getting there. Like
that makes sense.
I might quilt
like
in another 20 years.
into like wanting that little bit of stress in the quilting realm.
Yeah. So, and I don't think it's an old lady sport. Like one of my best friends is a quilter, and she's been doing it since she was like 16. So
oh, that's cool.
That's not what I'm saying, but like I think if you're not born with the patience, you can like grow into the patience.
Maybe there's hope for me someday then. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Like it would be cool to make a quilt sometime in my life. I'm just like, I'm not there. I have no interest in doing that.
I would rather hand sew a corset than make a quilt. I'm just like, no.
So I was always like, there is zero chance I would ever hand sew an entire gown and like go to Williamsburg. And now I'm like, I might hand sew a whole gown and go to Williams.
Oh, wow.
You know, like,
Yeah.
I think you
Maybe,
grow into these things.
especially if it was like a fabric you really liked, or maybe wool would be easier too to hand sew.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I
I feel
just
like
think,
I would enjoy it more if it was like, yeah, a nice red wool or something.
yeah, I think there's these like sewing rites of passage, and you know when you get there that you're ready to try it.
That's true.
And then
Yeah,
you
I
do
think
it.
so.
And until you're ready to do that, you're like, why would people do that? That's dumb. I don't want to do that. And then later you're like, maybe.
Maybe I'll just hand sew like the shift or something. You could work
Yeah.
your way up. Yeah.
I don't love hand sewing, but I don't love sewing. I keep saying this, like, I don't love sewing. I like sewing, but I don't love it. So like, maybe.
You like the finished result though of yours.
Yeah.
Yours is
Yeah.
more like, I have this awesome bustle dress now.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah.
I like it when people are like, you're so awesome.
It's true though, when you get something done and then you can be proud of it, which I think people should when they make something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I enjoy all kinds of things about costuming and all kinds of things about sewing. Just the actual tedious act of doing it isn't like a thing that I'm like, yeah, I want to spend all day doing
You're
that.
excited to cut out fabric. Yeah,
Right. Oh God, I have to. Yeah, I hate cutting. So
that's the worst part for me is the cutting.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like once that's done, you're in.
Yes.
Like
yeah. Then you're stuck with it either way, whether it, is the right size or not. It's
yeah. And I'm like, okay, don't eat extra bread tonight. Cool, we're in.
Just add a little extra seam allowance to be okay.
I kind of do that.
Yeah.
I frequently have stuff that's too big for me because I add too much extra seam allowance, but that's an okay problem to have.
I think I do that on every project for myself because I'm like worried it won't close or something, and then I end up cutting it off anyway. So
yeah, same. And then when I cut it off, it's too small.
Oh no. Well, as long as you have the extra fabric, you can add more back on sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Depends on what it is, but yeah. What, in your opinion, is the most amazing animal?
Oh, most amazing animal. Does it have to be currently existing, or like do dragons count?
Let's say it has to have existed.
I feel like dragons could have existed, but just because there's dinosaurs and things like that.
I think dragons come because people found dinosaur bones.
Most likely.
And they were like, oh, these are dragons, clearly. You find a T-Rex and then you find a pterodactyl.
Oh, totally. People put the stuff together and yeah.
I mean, let's be clear, pterodactyls are not dinosaurs. I get corrected by 6-year-olds all the time telling me like plesiosaurs and pterodactyls are not dinosaurs.
Yes, and they know all the subcategories of the different dinosaurs. So at that point, I'm like, I'll just let you tell me about what you know about the dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's totally what I do. But also I'm like, when I grew up, those were dinosaurs and Pluto was a planet. So
oh yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Well, I think if we're talking about animals then that are currently existing, I always like the big
or dinosaurs.
Or dinosaurs. I feel like
you know.
dinosaurs have to be included in that because those are pretty amazing. But I'm always a fan of like the big cats too, like the tigers and the lions, the panthers. Probably snow leopards, one of my top favorites.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's probably what I would pick.
Not like a saber-tooth leopard?
I like those too, but I think the snow leopard, I just think they're really pretty.
They are really pretty. I will accept this answer. What weird quirks did you pick up from your parents?
Oh, I was thinking you probably asked this one and I couldn't really come up with an exact answer on this. Although I think I definitely got my love of Disney from my dad and reading and stuff from both my parents. So I would say probably that.
It's funny how many people can't answer. Like, that's not a weird quirk. That's just a thing that you like.
I know. I couldn't come up with a quirk. I should have asked somebody else because I feel like someone else would be like, oh, you do this that they do. And so I think maybe that's why it's hard to answer.
Yeah.
We don't see ourselves do the same thing.
This might be an age thing also, because I didn't realize until I was like almost 40 that I do the thing that my dad does. I think I've done it on camera when he's like stressed out. He goes, ugh. But like, it's not that. Like, I can't do it unless I'm actually stressed out. But when I'm actually stressed out, I make this funny noise that my dad makes. My grandfather also had a way of like, and I do that now.
Oh no.
And like I have one from each of the people that raised me. Like I do a weird thing that
Oh,
they all do.
okay.
And they spring to my mind. Like I'm like, oh, I do this like this person and this like this person, and it's annoying and weird. But like I think these are things that like maybe you get when you get older, like you start noticing like, oh,
Maybe, or you're aware of it more. Maybe you
yeah,
realize you're doing it. Because I'm sure I do something. I don't know what it would be.
yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Internet, your job is to ask people around you what weird things that you do that your parents do. And
So we
it's
can recognize it.
yeah, that's the most fun because you can be like, aha, your mom does that.
I should have asked my brother. I feel like he would have told me, but I forgot to.
Yeah. Usually your siblings know. Sometimes it takes a while to develop them though. Like they don't come out until later. Like I'm pretty sure I didn't do the thing until I was like older.
Well, maybe I haven't aged into it yet then.
Yeah. Have you ever had an imaginary friend?
I don't think so. Not that I remember.
I am shocked. I am shook if.
I know. I think it's probably because I have two brothers and we're almost all the same age because I have a twin brother and then a brother that's a year younger than me.
You have a twin?
So, yes, so I am a twin. And so I feel like there was always someone to like hang out with or play with. So I didn't necessarily need an imaginary friend. But I think I definitely had imaginary worlds. Like, so you go to different realms and things like that, mostly fairy magical stuff. So there was probably something involved in that. I just don't remember like if I had one.
Interesting. Yeah, my husband calls you the Fae, which I find very
I don't mind.
So I was going to visit Brielle in Oregon, right? Yeah,
Yes.
Oregon.
Mhm.
Some state up there. Yeah.
Yes,
In
on the
Oregon.
way to Washington.
I was very close to Washington. So I was on my way to
Yes.
Washington and my husband was like, "Oh, where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to lunch with a new friend." And he said, "Oh, send me a picture. So if you die, I can say send it to the thing." So I sent him a picture of her like this because she's often like this. And and he goes, "Oh, she's Faye. Don't accept any food from her." And then that was like the end of it.
And he was done. It's all been sorted.
Yeah, he's like, "Okay, just don't accept any food and you'll be fine." And I'm just like, actually, if she gives me, what is it, bread and salt, then it's fine. That's a
I
like
think so.
a
Yeah.
sign of
Mhm.
hospitality. I
Mhm.
have this other friend, actually two of them, they're married, Becky and Craig, and they, I'm pretty sure, are Fae. And I think they couldn't have done this just to mess with me, but like I've known them for a really long time, and I went to their wedding, and at their wedding, on the table, they had bread and salt, and I was like,
Like
guys.
together. So it was like
Yes.
a,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, bread, butter, and salt is a thing that you
Yeah.
would put together, but like it was out in like wooden dishes in a very specific way that I was like,
Yeah. And the wooden dishes give it away too.
you
Like
guys
it's
are
because
just
it's so
messing with
nice.
me. Like, why are you doing this? And like, and I've mentioned it to them and they just don't talk about it. Like they won't answer me. They just move on with the conversation like I didn't say anything. And I'm like, okay, do you guys think I'm really weird or are you unwilling to discuss this?
I feel like maybe they know you know, but they don't want to like address the fact that you know.
That's what I
Yeah.
think too.
Yeah.
If you saw them, you'd be like, oh yeah, for sure, Faye.
Are they in Oregon too?
No, they're actually in LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My friend Becky is very interesting because she works for a prop shop and she does like all
Oh.
the leather working for all the Marvel characters.
Oh, that's
She
so
helped
cool.
make the gauntlet from the Avengers. Like,
With like
yeah,
the
no,
stone. Yeah.
she did the
Oh,
wiring that lit it up.
that is awesome. She can
She's
say she did the Infinity Gauntlet. That's
She's
really
painted one of
cool.
the Captain America shields. She made all the
Oh,
holsters for all the people on Agents of Shield. Like she has
wow, that
amazing
is so
job.
cool.
Yeah, I actually want to bring her on my channel and just like interview her about her job at some point because it's really
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, usually you hear about prop making, but it's usually obscure stuff that are like, oh,
Yeah.
it was a belt for this show or whatever. But those are such recognizable things. So that's pretty cool.
If you had to use a fake name, what fake name would you make up?
I would want something magical and fun, but at the same time, then my brain is like, I can't think of anything. Although I do really like Luthien from Tolkien's work, so probably that.
Okay. Just
Yeah,
Luthien, no last name.
probably. Yeah, just so it could just
Okay.
be like goes with the fairy theme. You just have one name. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give you like a pro tip for life. If you ever are in a life situation in which you have to make up a fake name, don't pick up something that's memorable. Like
That is true. Although it would depend on the circumstances for the fake name.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's true. But it's like if you ever had to use one, like
Then I would want something a little bit more boring and obscure.
yeah, you're like
A little bit,
Jane Smith.
Which I feel like some people would still question that because they would be like, really? Is that a fake name? Or
Yeah. Yeah, so pick something like sort of in the middle of like normal and not normal, you know. Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, I like Luthien.
Well, I will definitely be working on a good fake name then. I'll let you know.
Okay. All right. I expect a photo of the driver's license. Yeah. How superstitious are you?
I don't know if I'm necessarily superstitious, other than I'd like to believe in like all the magical stuff. I don't necessarily, if a mirror breaks, I won't assume I'll get bad luck or something like that. I kind of like notice things, but I wouldn't necessarily go like out of my way to not open an umbrella in the house or something like that in case it would go wrong. I feel like there's more theater ones as well, but other people have touched on that in your videos. But I don't necessarily believe if you say something backstage, something bad will happen.
You just said something.
Something. Just in case, you never know. So I wouldn't say I was
not on the stage.
too superstitious. Yeah, I don't think I would be superstitious, but I like believing in magical stuff just in case.
So I have a question about that something. So you can't say the something because it'll be, bad luck. But the bard himself said all the world is a stage. So does that mean you can't say it ever?
Now I don't know, because you're right. But
right?
Yeah, because then what if, I don't know. I also love black cats and people think those are bad luck. So I don't think they are. So
I think they're good luck. And I also think there's a like superstition that if a coyote crosses your path, then that's either good or bad luck, depending on which side of the coin you're on.
Okay.
And I believe that coyotes are good luck, which is very convenient because I live my next door neighbor is a county park and there are crazy amounts of coyotes in there. Like they have giant crazy parties where they like start all yipping and howling and they're
the yipping howl. Yes.
They're very close to my fence and like,
oh, no.
I'm not going to lie, like they're not that big, but there's enough of them that my tiny brain in the middle of my big brain goes, you should shut the windows.
It's kind of creepy then. Yeah. There's so many of them.
Yeah. Like I hear this little thought go through my head, like, you should get fire. And I'm like, what? I'm in a house.
Just in case they are scared of fire. So,
yeah.
That would technically work.
I think it's partly also that I have 7 cats in the house and my sunroom has like these giant windows that are on the bottom of the sunroom. And I open them all up to air fresh the house, because our cat boxes are in that room. So like it helps just
aerate things.
Cat box smell. So I very frequently I'm sitting around in the summertime hearing that and go, I'm gonna close the windows.
Do your cats freak out when they hear it?
Yeah, they go into the bed for sure.
Yeah.
You see 14 little eyes peering out.
Oh, poor kitties.
Yeah. Someday I got to get a picture of that. Our bed is actually pretty high, but like when you turn out sort of dim the lights in our room and you go look for them and they're all under there and you get a flashlight and you just see all these eyes, it's actually really creepy.
That would be because they're all like looking at you. And I just have the one cat and I can do that with him too. And that would be a lot.
Yeah. What book or movie do you wish you could experience for the first time again?
I feel like my obvious answer would be Lord of the Rings, but I'm kind of like glad I grew up with that at the same time. But it would still be fun to experience like the first movie again, just because I enjoyed it so much. The extended edition, probably experience the extended editions for the first time because that was fun to get it on the DVD. And then you have, 45 minutes or whatever extra of different scenes that I'm like, oh, that's in the book, but then it actually is in screen instead of the theatrical version. So I would probably say that, but I'm including all of them as a whole because to me that's like one movie.
Have you read the book?
Parts. Yes, I have. And I actually enjoy the movies a bit more because of the way they paced them. In the books, it's kind of like you follow Frodo's adventures the whole time, but you don't really know what's happening for everyone else.
Yeah.
To an extent. So I kind of like the way in the movies it goes back and forth.
Also, like Arwen isn't really in the books, so
no, she has her own little like after story in the back, And
Yeah.
they did give her a couple more parts, which some people do not like if they're super like canon to the Lord of the Rings book. But I'm glad she got more time because I like Arwen. So
She's also in the Silmarillion a lot.
I like the Silmarillion too. As an audiobook, I find it easier to pay attention to.
Do you know that that's actually 12 books?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna get the Silmarillion, and I got the Silmarillion and I read it. And then someone else was like, did you know that's 12 books? And I'm like, Como. And then I looked at all the other books and I was like,
He just kept going. Like,
can't.
it's just the universe is, yeah, it's huge.
There's gonna be someone in the comments that's gonna be like, actually, the first book is called the Silmarillion, and then after that is called, and I'm just gonna be like, Lord of the Rings people, this is how far I get with it. I do say that the first movie is the most the first movie is the movie that I have seen the most in the theater in my life. I saw it 10 times. I was so obsessed that I would like go, like there was a movie theater right outside my workplace, and I would just go to the movie theater after work and watch it because I lived by myself. So I was like, I don't have anything to do.
You can see it as many times as you want then. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I did participate in the event where you watch in the movie theater the first 2 extended versions, and then you got to see the third movie on the night it premiered.
Yes.
And that was the point at which I broke. Because like I'm sitting there after 8 hours, 8.5 hours.
That's
at
a long time.
And I'm like, I don't care if Frodo goes up this mountain at all. And then I was like,
because you've been there for so long already.
Yeah. And I'm like, ooh, Frodo got up the mountain. Let's go. No, you're not going to go. There's an hour of other endings after this.
There's still more because you have to finalize like all the other battles. So I feel like watching them all in one day in the theater is impressive that you did that, but that's a really long time.
It broke me. It made me go from like obsessive to, yeah, I'm good.
And you're just like, make it end. We need the credits.
Don't care that Hobbit could get up that mountain or not. And I really could care less. Like, whatever, Middle Earth.
Saw the orchestra version as like a concert as well, and that was really cool. I really enjoyed that. It was the first one, but that was enjoyable since it just made it different since it was live music.
Yeah,
even though I knew the story so well, I could kind of focus more on watching the people play the music, which I found that entertaining.
We have a lot of those in my area because Silicon Valley has enough money to burn on that kind of stuff, and a symphony that doesn't get to play enough. So I've seen all those, and also like all the Harry Potter movies and the Matrix, and
that would be so much fun.
They do the Pixar movies too, which is really great.
Oh, that would be fun too because it's a little bit shorter. So
yeah. Someone mentioned in a video, I mentioned that you can go and see them played with an orchestra, and someone else was like, what? I've never even heard of that. They do it in big cities all over the country. So
yeah, I think Portland has a few, but that was the only one I've been to. I know they had a Star Wars one that would have been fun, and a few other ones like that, but Harry Potter, I would have enjoyed Harry Potter as well.
Yeah, that's a great one. If you could hang out with any cartoon character, who would you choose and why?
Oh, any cartoon character. I like too many animated Disney movies. It's hard to choose like one character. Does it have to be human or is it animal? Okay.
Any cartoon character.
Okay, any cartoon character. I kind of like, it's random, but I feel like hanging out with like Maximus from Tangled would be fun, the horse, because he has like a dog personality, but he's like a cuddly horse at the same time. So I would think that would be fun. Even though he doesn't talk, I would still enjoy that.
That's a great one. Yeah. Someone in my actual, like, not that costuming isn't my actual life, but in my life was like,
there's separate lives. Yeah.
And I was like, Olaf would get old.
I feel like I would enjoy hanging out with Olaf for like 10 minutes. And then pretty soon I would be like Kristoff, where it's like, okay, just like stay over there for a little bit. Yeah. I
have to say that Frozen 2 was significantly better than Frozen 1. Olaf.
I like Frozen 2 so much.
Olaf was perfection. Like Olaf
with him reciting or like, doing his thing about the first movie. That was just, it was perfect.
He reenacts the entire first movie in it in like 2 minutes. So you don't even have to have seen Frozen 1. I thought Frozen 1 was all right. And then I came home and I didn't watch it at all. And then I watched it again like pretty recently, on probably right before Frozen 2 came out, and I was like, oh, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was. Like it's it's a fine movie. I don't want to purchase it, but like if it's on Disney Plus, okay. Frozen 2 though was like awesome. That was a great movie. Like, and
I
people,
enjoyed it so much, and I know a lot of people didn't like it, which
yeah,
I was confused also. I guess people thought it was too magical or something, but that's kind of why I liked it. So
it
I
was
thought
just
I thought
magical
it was
enough.
really good. And then Christoph's song, like the 80s vibes, it was great.
It was perfection.
It
I have
was.
rarely laughed that hard.
Same. That was, yeah, I saw that one twice in the theaters. I liked it so much. So
Surprisingly, very, very good and very funny. The Dora the Explorer movie.
oh wow.
Yeah,
I would not have thought that.
I did not see that coming. There is the guy from Ant-Man, like the Hispanic dude that is very funny, that like
Oh,
runs
okay.
Ant-Man's company. He's
Yes.
in that. He's Dora's dad. He's so good. He's so good. He's
It's
so
good to
funny.
know it was like a watchable movie because I
Oh yeah.
never would have thought about that with that one.
I didn't think so either. And my friend and I sort of went to see it on a like, I'll go if you go kind of
We
situation.
can go and laugh at it together type deal. Yeah.
We were like people were looking at us like because we were riotously laughing in our seats. Like, so there's one part where that guy does like the imitation of a rave, but like in like beatbox. I have
Just
rarely seen anything that
entertaining.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so funny. Have you ever had a supernatural event, seen a ghost or anything like that?
I don't think so. Although at my parents' house, I always like think that I see the cat that's no longer there, which is super weird. I don't necessarily
Oh,
see her, but like think that like there's a cat walking around or like hear it. It's very odd. Yeah, that's the only thing I would say that maybe
wow.
because it was my cat and then she passed away at like 18, I think.
Hmm.
So it's just you get like phantom cat things. It's weird. I've heard other people mention it as well. So I don't know if it's just like a cat thing or what.
That would be amazing if cats had ghosts and they stayed. Like, I'd be willing to put a slight pause on my atheism for that.
Just for the cats.
Yeah. Well, what if it's only cats? Like, really,
That's true.
everybody
Maybe
else
that's why
goes
they
to
just
wherever they
stare at
want.
walls randomly sometimes. So, or at
Yeah.
least my cat does that. He'll just like look at things for a long time that aren't there, and you're like, "Are you okay?"
Last night, Keanu was like, and he's just staring at the ceiling. There's nothing on the ceiling. He's just going, and
Like
I'm
the
just
little
like,
bird hunt chirp thing.
yeah. And I'm like,
Oh,
what are you doing, dude?
well, maybe. Who knows?
He's talking to ceiling cat. I'm like, oh,
Or he's just trying to like scare you. I wonder that also because my cat Loki will do that, and he just like looks around and chirps at nothing, and it's like, are you okay, or you just want to play?
what are your favorite songs from your teenage years that you still rock out to?
Oh, I don't know if I can pick like a specific song, but I was like very, I don't want to say nerdy in a bad way, but definitely I liked all my soundtracks and things like that, or music that was like Nightwish or Fawn, which was very like fantasy inspired. And I still listen to that on Spotify.
I don't know what Night Witch and Fawn are, but I'm gonna have to go look that up now.
It's the Fawn one I was actually listening to today. So I think I can't remember if they're Danish or German. I feel bad I can't remember that right now, but I like the whole like you hear it at like a fairy festival. Like that's the
Yeah,
vibe. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Because there's Renaissance festival music, but then there's like fairy festival music where people are probably wearing like fawn costumes and playing
Hmm.
it, like that type of thing.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna go check that out.
It's very obscure, but then all the I still enjoy like all the Lord of the Rings music and Harry Potter soundtracks. That's just like calming for me. So
Yeah, the Harry Potter soundtrack is my ringtone, so
that's a good
I
choice.
I hear it from time to time off in the distance. It's very comforting. I'm like, oh,
It's like
great.
magical. There was a on Spotify. There was a magical Yule Harry Potter playlist, which was
Ooh,
all the Christmassy vibe music together. Which that was really fun. I enjoyed that one.
I don't have Spotify. I have Apple Music. Hmm.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Someone made the playlist, so I'm not sure how that works on Apple Music.
I think you can still listen to Spotify without paying money for it, though, right?
Yes, you just have commercials, which I used to do that one, but if I'm listening to it all day while I'm sewing, I can't have the commercials in there.
Yeah, Pandora's like that. If you could go back in time and give yourself a one sentence piece of advice, at what age would you arrive at and what would you say?
That's a really good question. I think I'd probably go back to high school, like 15 or 16, and just tell myself to stop stressing out about everything. Like, it'll be fine, even if, the test doesn't go that great. You can take another one, do it again, or just life in general. It won't matter. High school doesn't matter. That would probably be my advice is just like, don't stress out. You'll be fine.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what mine would be. I don't know either. I'm pretty happy with like, maybe I'd be like, start putting money into your retirement account earlier.
That would be a good one too.
Just
Yeah.
$25 a week, Noelle. It'll be fine.
Even 5. Yeah.
Even 5. Just put some money in every week. Yeah, that's probably what I would say.
I think that would be good advice for sure.
Specifically chosen for you. If you were
Oh.
the captain of a pirate ship, what would the name of your ship be?
Oh. This is also a very good question. And I've never thought of that one specifically, but I did draw a pirate ship in watercolor in high school and called it Pursuit was the name of the ship.
Ooh.
Because I felt like that would be fitting so that it could be piratey, but maybe not completely piratey at times. You could use it either way if it needed to go in disguise. So I think that would be my answer. And then it would also be like a ghost ship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You said disguise, and I immediately was like, "Is it a transformer?" Like,
that would be a different ship. Although I don't have Transformers done like water vessel.
I don't know, but
I don't know either.
I mean, I'm kind of like, I mean, I was born in the 70s, dude. So like Transformers are old school for me. Like I'm hardcore Bumblebee, but like everybody else is all these newfangled
Bumblebee's like the only one I know, so that's good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the weirdo who like, despite Michael Bay's horrible cinematography and Shia LaBeouf and all that stuff, like I'm kind of into the Transformers movies because I'm like, did you see them? They went wah, 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 wah. Like
that is fun. I have seen the movies. I just don't retain the names of the other characters.
Yeah.
So.
I remember them from cartoons from when I was little because I was alive when the Transformer cartoons were like a thing, like the original one, maybe the original, the 80s ones.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That would make them more memorable because then you would have like fond memories attached to them. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember thinking that Starscream, who is the bad guy, like fighter jet plane guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a whiny little bitch even back in the day. So
just not anyone's favorite.
No, although I mean, maybe whiny little bitch kids.
They identified with him, maybe.
Yeah, I identify with Starscream. All right, your 20th question, also picked for you. What movie do you rewatch over and over again?
Oh, well, obviously, Lord of the Rings, I enjoy very much. I feel like for 2020, though, I've watched the 2020 Emma a few times because it's just relaxing and I love the costumes and I can laugh at it and not think about like what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that one was a big one, but Lord of the Rings is probably a top favorite. And the first Pirates of the Caribbean, always a classic.
Yeah.
I like that one.
It's a good
and
selection.
The first Hobbit, I enjoy, but I haven't seen that often. The rest of them, not quite the same. But the first Hobbit, like they're questionable. I have issues with those. But the first Hobbit with all the dwarves showing up at Bilbo's, that's very fun.
So I will give it up to The Hobbit that they have both Richard Armitage and Poldark in them. And I'm like,
that is true.
I'll watch this. Just turn the sound off. Hey.
And it's fine. I like Bilbo in The Hobbit, but Lord of the Rings I would rewatch many times. That's probably top one.
I mean, obviously I've seen it 1 million times also. I think probably Emma 2020 during 2020 was, it's funny because it's called like, it's not called Emma 2020. Like, no, but everybody calls it that.
It's the only way to just like, I think, explain to people because they're like, well, it's the 95 or this version, or, you know, I know there's the whole debate of which Pride and Prejudice do people like. And I feel like Emma, it's easier to say, oh, the 2021 with the good costumes. Then everyone's like, oh yeah, that one. So I enjoyed that one.
I've seen that movie. I bought it. So I saw it 4 times in the theater. And the last time I saw it was on that trip. I think I saw it the night before.
That's right. Yeah.
And I saw it in the theater. And then the moment it became available to buy, I bought it. And I've probably seen it once a week since then. It's the only thing that's ever made me just like really love Regency. Oh, same. That's so true. If you haven't checked it out, Amazon Prime has, or buy or whatever, but they have the BBC, maybe Sky One version of Vanity Fair, and it's like I think 6-part series that came out I think in 2018. Okay. Also Choice Costumes, just FYI.
Well, I'll have to check that out. I think someone mentioned that to me the other day, but I thought they were talking about a different version of Vanity Fair, which I've seen, but was not my favorite.
the mini series that came out in like, I think it's 2018 or early 2019. It was really, really
Okay.
good. Like,
I'll have to check that out then. That
yeah,
would be
and
fun.
it makes you like Becky Sharp. So yeah.
Because she's not very likable.
She's
So
kind of a jerk, but you know, whatever. All right. Are you ready for it? The super controversial bonus question.
I think so. Yes.
I'm ready to use my ammo that I got just before this too. Is a hot dog a sandwich, and why?
I have thought about this because when you were asking people during like the CoCoVid stuff, and I think no, it's not a sandwich.
Okay.
But I'm also kind of neutral as I don't really eat hot dogs. So I guess for me, I'm more on the neutral stance. But a hot dog to me doesn't look like a sandwich because it's not stacked up like a sandwich would be.
Uh-huh.
I suppose the only reasoning behind that for me.
So what about like meatball subs and all that sort of thing?
That's a gray area then, I guess.
Okay.
But if someone wanted their hot dog to be a sandwich, I wouldn't care. I'd be like,
Yeah,
whatever you want to call it, that's fine.
So my ammo that I got right before that, like literally moments before I came on this call, was that someone sent me a link to Stephen Colbert asking Ruth Bader Ginsburg if a hot dog is a sandwich. And she said, by his definition of what a sandwich is, which is the actual problem, is that there's like the definitions conflict.
Yeah.
But by his definition, because subs are sandwiches and stuff, then yes, a hot dog is a sandwich. And I'm like, if RBG says yes, then yes.
Then it's a sandwich.
Then it's a sandwich.
That's funny. That's so random that like they have a video of her answering that.
Yeah. It is like, I thought you were going to say it's so random that you like that I have this, that, like people send me, you would not.
It makes sense that someone would send that to you. So I guess, yeah.
I have not woken up once since CoCoVid and looked at my DMs without hot dog and sandwich in one DM being at least there once.
Wow. I'm surprised people are still like finding it and sending it to you, that they wouldn't have just like sent it all at one time.
Well, so they did send it all at one time, multiple times, but no, you know, everybody doesn't know what everybody else has sent me. So everybody thinks
that's
they're
true.
the first person to
yes.
understand what like the cubist theory is, like that it's a taco. And I'm like, that guy can burn.
Yeah, it's not a taco.
It's not a taco. So, but nobody knows what everybody else has sent me. So it makes sense that I get the same stuff over and over and over and over and over and over again. I'm just like, guys.
They're all thinking they're being original and sending this to you, but
it's like people who sing me the Noel song thinking I've never heard of it. I'm like,
I feel like you would have gotten that a lot as a child.
I've been to a mall.
You know, you've heard it.
I got
Do people
this.
send you like Noel Christmas cards too, or
yes. Yeah. I had a friend who every year would find wrapping paper that said Noel, but like the Noel, and then he would write on the L and E.
Wow, that's dedicated.
Yeah, and I'm like, you get a pass for this one because that's funny.
Yeah, it's creative and it's funny.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for joining me today, Brielle. I will leave a list of Brielle's accounts down below so that you can go check her out and show her some love. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below about what you guys are up to, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye, guys.